The night I found out my husband was sleeping with my best friend, my daughter was drawing a picture of all four of us: me, her dad, her, and the woman who was about to destroy our family. She didn't know. She thought Auntie Maya was just Mommy's best friend. I wish I had known the truth the first time I saw the way he looked at her. Because betrayal doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts in the small moments you ignore. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 34 years old, and I live in Seattle, Washington. I have 2 children, Ethan, who's 8, and Lily, who just turned 5. 2 years ago, I would have described my life as stable. Not perfect, but solid. I had been married to Daniel for 10 years. We met in college in Chicago. He was studying business. I was studying education. He was confident, ambitious, protective, the kind of man who made you feel chosen. And then there was Maya. Maya wasn't just my best friend. She was my history. We met in middle school in Portland. We survived high school drama together. We went to the same college, shared apartments, shared clothes, shared heartbreak stories at 2 a.m. If someone had asked me who knew my deepest secrets, my fears, my dreams, it was her. When Daniel proposed to me, she cried harder than I did. When I got married, she stood next to me as my maid of honor and whispered, "You deserve this happiness." After graduation, life split us in different directions. Daniel and I moved to Seattle for his job. Maya got accepted into a graduate program in Toronto. It was her dream school, international business, 5-year track. We promised distance wouldn't change us. But life is loud. Marriage, career, pregnancy, motherhood. Time moves differently when you're building a family. Over those 5 years, Daniel climbed the corporate ladder. Long hours, business trips, client dinners. I stayed home after Lily was born. We decided together it made sense financially. But something shifted after our second child. He wasn't mean. He wasn't abusive. He was unavailable. Physically there, emotionally somewhere else. More time on his phone. More locked screens. More passwords changed for security reasons. When I asked if everything was okay, he would kiss my forehead and say, "You worry too much." Maybe I did. Then one afternoon, I got a text. Guess who's finally back in the US? My heart jumped. Maya. 5 years gone. She said she was moving back permanently. She had finished her degree. She had job offers in New York and Seattle, but she chose Seattle. "Because you're there," she wrote. I cried reading that message. Finally, something from my old life was coming back. The day she came to my house, I cleaned like I was expecting a guest of honor. When I opened the door, she looked different. Same smile, same voice, but more polished, more confident. Designer coat, sharp energy. She hugged me tight. "I missed you," she said. "I needed you," I answered. When Daniel came home that evening, I introduced them properly. "Maya, this is Daniel." They shook hands, and for just 1 second, they held eye contact a little too long. I noticed, but I ignored it, because she was my best friend, because he was my husband, and because questioning that would mean questioning everything. At first, having her back felt like a blessing. She visited often, played with the kids, brought expensive gifts from her travels, cooked dinner with me like old times. Daniel seemed impressed by her career success. "She's doing really well," he'd say. I was proud of her. But slowly, something changed. Conversation shifted. They started talking about business strategies, investments, market trends, topics I wasn't part of. Sometimes I would walk into the kitchen and they would stop mid-sentence. "Sorry," Maya would laugh. "Boring work stuff." But their energy wasn't boring. It was charged. Daniel began coming home earlier on days she visited. He dressed nicer. Cologne I hadn't smelled in months. One evening, we were all sitting in the living room. Lily was coloring. Ethan was building Legos. Maya sat across from Daniel on the couch. They were laughing. Not friendly laughter. The kind of laughter that lingers. The kind that feels like an inside joke. I felt something twist in my stomach. Later that night, while Daniel was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. I didn't check his phone. Not in 10 years of marriage. But something felt off. The screen lit up. Maya's name. My chest tightened. The preview message read, "Today felt different." I liked it. My hands went cold. Different? I stared at the screen like it might explain itself. When Daniel came out of the bathroom, I asked casually, "Did you and Maya talk after she left?" He paused, just slightly. "Yeah, about a possible investment opportunity." His voice was steady. Too steady. The next day, Maya didn't come over. Daniel said he had meetings downtown. That evening, he came home later than usual, and he was quiet. Not tired, not stressed, just distant, like someone carrying a secret. A week later, I suggested the three of us have dinner together. Maya declined. "Busy with networking events," she said. But that same night, Daniel had another late meeting. That's when doubt stopped being a thought and became a feeling, a heavy one. I started noticing patterns. He smiled at his phone more. He stepped outside to take calls. He locked the bathroom door while texting. And the worst part? When Maya came over again, she hugged me like nothing was wrong, like she wasn't possibly tearing my world apart. Then one afternoon, everything shifted. I had taken the kids to the park. I realized I forgot Lily's jacket and came back home earlier than planned. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I heard voices upstairs. Low. Close. And then, a laugh. Her laugh. Followed by his voice. Softer than I'd ever heard it before. I stood at the bottom of the staircase. Frozen. Because in that moment, I already knew. But I wasn't ready to see it. And sometimes, not seeing feels safer than knowing. I stood at the bottom of the staircase, my heart pounding so loud I was sure they could hear it. Maya's laugh echoed again. Then Daniel's voice, low, intimate, soft in a way I hadn't heard in years. My hands were shaking. I could have walked out. I could have made noise. I could have pretended I never came home. But instead, I walked upstairs. Each step felt heavier than the last. Halfway up, I heard something that made my stomach drop. Silence. The kind of silence that happens when two people are very close. Too close. I reached our bedroom door. It wasn't fully closed, just slightly open, enough to see. And I wish with everything in me that I hadn't looked. Because in that small space between the door and the frame, I saw my husband kissing my best friend. Not confused, not pulling away, kissing her like he had chosen her. My world didn't shatter loudly. It shattered quietly, like glass breaking underwater. They didn't see me at first. I don't know how long I stood there. A second, a minute, a lifetime. Then Maya opened her eyes, and she saw me, her face drained of color. "Emily," Daniel turned quickly. The look on his face wasn't guilt, it was shock. Like I was the interruption, like I wasn't supposed to see that. My voice came out calm, too calm. "How long?" Neither of them answered. "How long?" Daniel stepped forward. "It's not what you think." I laughed, a broken, unfamiliar sound. "It's exactly what I think." Maya started crying. Crying, as if she was the victim. "Em, I didn't mean for this to happen." "Didn't mean?" "You don't accidentally kiss someone in my bedroom. You don't accidentally text, 'Today felt different.' You don't accidentally betray 10 years of marriage and 20 years of friendship." "How long?" I asked again. Daniel looked at the floor. 3 months. 3 months. While I cooked dinner, while I packed school lunches, while I folded his clothes, while my daughter drew pictures of all of us together. 3 months. "Does she know?" I asked, looking at Maya. She shook her head. "She thinks I'm just your best friend." My chest felt like it was collapsing. "You are not my best friend," I said quietly. Daniel tried to step closer to me. "Emily, listen." "Don't," I snapped. For the first time in years, my voice had steel in it. "Did you ever plan to tell me?" Silence. That was my answer. I walked past them, down the stairs, into the kitchen. My hands were numb. I heard them whispering upstairs, probably discussing damage control, probably trying to decide how to spin this. But something inside me shifted. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to throw things. I wasn't going to beg. Because in that moment I realized something terrifying. They had already chosen, and I had been the only one still loyal. A few minutes later they came downstairs. Maya wouldn't look at me. Daniel tried again. It just happened. We connected. We've been talking a lot. You've been distant too. Distant. I almost laughed again. I was raising your children. He rubbed his face. I didn't mean for it to get serious. Serious. So this wasn't just physical. That hurt more than the kiss. How serious? I asked. Daniel hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. Maya spoke softly. We didn't want to hurt you. I looked at her. You already did. There was no yelling, no dramatic scene, just quiet devastation. Finally, I asked the question that had been sitting in my chest like a knife. Are you in love with her? Daniel didn't answer immediately, but he didn't deny it either. And that silence ended my marriage. I nodded slowly. Okay. That confused them. Okay, he asked. Yes. If that's what you want, then you should leave. Daniel blinked. You're not even going to fight? Fight for someone who had already walked away? No, I said calmly. I'm not going to compete with my best friend for my own husband. Maya started crying again. Emily, please. Stop saying my name like you care. The kids were still at the park. Thank God they didn't see this. Daniel grabbed his keys. I'll stay at a hotel tonight. We'll talk tomorrow. No, I said. There's nothing to talk about. He hesitated. For a split second, I saw fear in his eyes. Maybe he expected me to beg, to break down, to ask him to stay. But I didn't, because something stronger than heartbreak had taken over. Clarity. He left. Maya followed him to the door. She paused before stepping out. I never planned this. I looked at her steadily. You planned every text, every meeting, every lie. She didn't respond. The door closed, and suddenly, the house was silent. I stood there alone in my kitchen, the same kitchen where we had celebrated birthdays, hosted Thanksgiving, watched our children grow, and I felt something unexpected. Not just pain, but awakening. Because betrayal doesn't just break you. It reveals people. It reveals truths you were too trusting to see. That night, when the kids came home, I smiled. I made dinner. I helped with homework. I read bedtime stories. And when Lily handed me her drawing of Mommy, Daddy, and Auntie Maya, I swallowed the lump in my throat. Because they deserved stability, even if my world had collapsed. But I knew one thing for sure. This wasn't going to end the way Daniel expected. He thought I would fall apart. He thought I needed him. He forgot something important. I had survived before him, and I could survive after him. What he didn't know yet.
The morning after Daniel left, I woke up before sunrise. For 10 years, I woke up as a wife. That morning, I woke up as something else. Not single, not broken. Awake. The bed felt colder. The house felt larger. But for the first time in months, my chest didn't feel tight. There was no pretending anymore. No late meetings. No hidden messages. No strange tension in my own living room. Just truth. And sometimes truth hurts, but it also frees you. The first move. Daniel texted around 8 a.m. We need to talk, for the kids. For the kids. That phrase men use when they want to soften the damage they've already done. I replied calmly, yes, we do. I've already contacted a lawyer. There was a long pause. Then, you're overreacting. Overreacting. To a 3-month affair with my best friend. That was the moment I realized something important. He didn't think I would leave. He thought I would cry, forgive, adjust, compete. He didn't understand that betrayal rewires a woman's brain. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Maya's reality. 2 days later, Maya called me. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Her voice sounded smaller than I remembered. Emily, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Sorry. A word that means nothing when trust is gone. Are you happy? I asked her. Silence. That told me everything. Affairs feel exciting in secret. They feel romantic in shadows. But in daylight, they look selfish. She didn't expect the backlash, because people found out. Affairs don't stay hidden. Daniel's coworkers started whispering. Mutual friends stopped inviting them to gatherings. Other moms at school looked at her differently when she showed up once to pick something up with Daniel. Yes, he brought her around too soon. And reality hit fast. He wasn't the thrilling escape anymore. He was a divorced father with child support payments and shared custody. Exciting loses its shine when bills are involved. The divorce. The legal process wasn't dramatic. It was cold. Paperwork, assets divided, custody schedules. Daniel tried to negotiate. Let's keep this peaceful. I smiled. It is peaceful. Peaceful doesn't mean weak. I kept the house, primary custody of the kids. He got weekends. He didn't fight much, because deep down, he knew. He had already taken enough. The turning point. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I started working again. Part-time at first, then full-time. I had put my teaching career on hold for years, but I wasn't lost. I was paused. There's a difference. The first paycheck I earned again felt better than any apology could have. The kids adjusted slowly. Ethan asked once, "Is Auntie Maya coming back?" I knelt down and said gently, "Some people don't stay in our lives forever, and that's okay." He nodded. Kids understand more than we think. Lily stopped drawing 4 people. She started drawing 3. And eventually, she started drawing me smiling bigger. The unexpected call. 6 months later, Daniel showed up at my door unexpectedly. He looked different. Tired. Less confident. Less certain. "Can we talk?" he asked. I stepped outside so the kids wouldn't hear. "It's not working with Maya," he admitted. Of course it wasn't. Affairs are built on fantasy. Real life exposes everything. She's not who I thought she was. I almost laughed. She's exactly who she is. You just saw her differently when you were betraying me. He looked down. I made a mistake. There it was. The word they always use. Mistake. As if betrayal is a typo. As if you can press backspace on broken trust. "I miss our family," he said quietly. I studied him carefully. For the first time in years, I wasn't looking at him with love. I was looking at him with clarity. "You don't miss me," I said calmly. "You miss stability." That hit him harder than yelling ever could. He didn't argue, because he knew it was true. The real consequence. Here's what cheaters don't realize. When you betray someone deeply, you don't just risk losing them. You change how they see them forever. Even if I wanted to take him back, I couldn't unknow what I saw. I couldn't erase the image of them in my bedroom. Some lines, once crossed, disappear. And without that line, there is no safe place left. "I forgive you," I told him. His eyes lifted quickly. But forgiveness doesn't mean access. That was the moment power shifted completely. He had expected anger. He had expected emotion. He wasn't prepared for strength. Maya's ending. A mutual friend later told me Maya moved to another city. New job, new start. Some people run from the consequences they create. But here's the truth. You can move cities. You can change jobs. But you carry your character with you. And eventually, it catches up. 1 year later. It's been a year now. I'm stronger, calmer, happier in ways I didn't expect. Not because the pain didn't hurt, but because it forced me to rebuild. I redecorated the bedroom, changed my hairstyle, started therapy, reconnected with old friends, and most importantly, I stopped shrinking myself to keep someone comfortable. One evening, Lily asked me, "Mommy, are you sad Daddy doesn't live here?" I smiled softly. "Sometimes, but I'm proud of Mommy for being brave." She hugged me tightly, and in that moment, I realized something powerful. My children didn't need a perfect marriage. They needed a strong example, and I became one. Final voiceover ending. If you're listening to this and you've been betrayed, let me tell you something. You are not replaceable. You are not naive. You are not weak for loving fully. But once someone shows you who they are, believe them. Because sometimes losing a husband and a best friend in the same moment is the exact thing that saves you. They thought I would fall apart. Instead, I rebuilt. And that was something they never saw coming.